صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا. ليغفر لك الله ما تقدم من ذنبك وما تأخر ويتم نعمته عليك. ويتم نعمته عليك ويهديك صراطا مستقيما وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا. هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين ليزدادوا إيمانا مع إيمانهم. ولله جنود السماوات والأرض. وكان الله عليما حكيما. ليدخل المؤمنين والمؤمنات جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار. تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ويكفر عنهم سيئاتهم وكان ذلك عند الله فوزا عظيما. ويعذب المنافقين والمنافقات والمشركين والمشركات الظانين بالله والمشركين والمشركات الظانين بالله ظن السوء عليهم دائرة السوء وغضب الله لهم وساءت مصيرا. ولله جنود السماوات والأرض وكان الله عزيزا حكيما. إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا لتؤمنوا بالله ورسوله وتعزروه وتوقروه وتسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا. صدق الله العلي صلوات.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Momentarily thought I'd lost my job announcing with the little one coming to the front. Just bear with us 1 second. We've just got some AV issues online as well. We're just testing the mic as well. Hopefully we should be fine. It's always a pleasure to hear Brother Muhammad Ali recite Quran. He's one of our own. He's from Birmingham and I'm always so proud. So thank you for that beautiful recitation as well. Inshallah we'll enjoy your adhan a little later as well. Thank you so much. Can we have a loud salawat for him, please? Tonight's program has been sponsored for a number of marhumeens. Their names are on the screen outside. Can we recite Surah Fatiha? You can also sponsor a lecture of your own on behalf of your marhumeens. You can do that outside, donate in the foyer via cash or card or scan the QR code. There are a number of other ways you can also contribute to the global population, so via humanitarian relief. AMI has linked up with Beta Charitable Trust supporting Gaza, Yemen, Lebanon to deliver medical aid, clean water, and you can again see that on the screen outside. Scan the QR code. We'll also have a short second announcement after Muharram, which will detail some of the work that they've been doing as well. You've also got the opportunity to get involved in the Ashura food drive, and you can do that. You can get involved by donating via the QR code on the screen outside, or you can hand in cash donations by seeing Zinat or Muhammad Moti if you see them around. That's on the 6th of July on Ashura, and it's with Time for Change and with Who's Hussein in Birmingham City Centre. There's also some chances to get involved with AMI. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the Islamic self-development course and postgrad diploma are fully booked now. However, I've been told that there might be some places early next year. There'll be some notifications about that. But you can also register your interest, again, by scanning the QR code on the screens outside. If you can't wait for that, there's also a number of books outside. There's some little brochures as well, which can tell you a bit about the abstracts and articles that they put together. But there's also a new book. It's not turned up today. It was supposed to, but I think all good things, have to have a little patience with them. I'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow, hopefully. But you have got an opportunity to buy any of the books there from AMI Press or Sajadiya Press at 20% off as well. Some programming reminders. Tomorrow's program starts at 8:15 with Quran, lecture, Muharram, ziyarat and refreshments. The kids' workshops have begun today. Some of our younger attendees might be enjoying those already. There is one for tomorrow as well, and on the 5th of July. You can register for that at ami.is/Muharram-kids, and that's for reception to year 2. Before I begin, just some housekeeping. If I can ask you all to just note where the fire exits are, so they're behind the hall, the main entrance, and near the dining hall. The toilets are near the end of the corridor, so that long corridor there, if you just walk to the end of those. We've also got some segregated spaces for men, women, and children in the conference room. You can just follow the signs there. And just a note about mobile phones and any sort of chatter, the room it's a beautiful setting, but it does carry noise quite a lot. Also outside as well, so just be wary of that. So if you can mute your mobile phones, put them on vibrate and keep chatter to a minimum, that'll be absolutely fantastic. But before the lecture, and we are expecting a lot of people, and did ask everybody to move forward yesterday. And gents, if you can, all the way to the front, please, and all the way across, I'd really appreciate it. Can we have a loud salawat and move as far forward as possible? We had a lot of people join us in the first 5 minutes, and the hall was quite full. So if we can just make the effort to make it all the way to the front. Now there's a number of people who've got nice spaces on the side, but if you can come all the way to the front, we'd really, really appreciate it. We have one more salawat. Okay, so before we begin the lecture, I just want to remind you that there is a Q&A session at 10:30 after the program. We will try our best to start on time. People are enjoying chai and fatia, but we'll try to start on time. It was really lovely. It is not streamed online, so some of the discussions are really like it's a chance for you to ask any question you kind of want to the Shaykh about the lectures and possibly lecture adjunct as well. The ayahs which Shaykh talks about as well from the Quran have been sent out via WhatsApp, so please do have your phones ready to be able to just go through those if you wish to do so. This is lecture 3, and yesterday he left us with a really big cliffhanger. Can we welcome him with a loud salawat? So we're just setting up the camera again, so if we just take another minute, if we can move as far forward as possible, if you're able to, I appreciate so that we can just fill the hall as much as possible. Can I have one loud salawat?
Tell him I'm starting. Tell him now. Now everything is gone. Now everything is gone.
No sound, no nothing.
But there's nothing there. Switch the top one on. But it's not on. Yeah, okay. All right. Please come forward because it gets packed at the back. So recite salawat and come forward. Of course, nobody listens to the Prophet, right? Please, come here. Sorry. There's a reason why I've been asked to waste time today, by the way. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So we talked about the mechanism of revelation. Now the word revelation means to reveal, to disclose. So we can aptly describe the whole process of tanzil, inzal and wahi as revelation. Things were being disclosed to the Prophet as his heart opened up through the agency of the Spirit and from the coming of the meanings. This is all known as revelation. Now this revelation then subsequently is worded into a recital. And what makes the Quran unique is that it is not like any other communication, where the communication is transcribed, written, narrated by scribes and disciples. In this instance, the composition and the production of the whole communication is taken on by higher agency. In this instance, the higher agency is none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that stands to reason that it cannot be anyone less than Allah. We cited this yesterday. Had it been from other than Allah, you would find many discrepancies therein. That is a litmus test. That tests for us what we said in the first lecture. That is the assumption through which we go within verses of the Quran, accurate or not. The litmus test is, does it result in conflict and contradiction? If yes, then the assumption is false. If no, then the assumption is fine. And the process is a continuous one for us to refine our assumptions with the progression of the human intellect, human achievement, human self-actualization. Similarly, if there is any discrepancy within the Quran, then we will know that it is not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because now no agency other than God is infallible. And we will see in the next couple of days that there is absolutely no agency other than God that can be infallible. Every agency is fallible. So the one who can make a claim that you will find no discrepancies therein has to be an infallible source that has fullness of knowledge. Now we cited those little examples about sama, basar and afida, hearing, seeing and the hearts, or loosely translated as the heart. It's consistently maintained throughout the Quran. God is hearing, seeing is consistently maintained throughout the Quran. Death and life consistently maintained throughout the Quran. These are existential truths that the Quran is giving. There's a phenomenal thing about the Quran. Not only in its words, but the structure of the words also tell a story. Every single nuance in the Quran has a deep story embedded within it that opens itself up. Where the Quran says I, where it says he, where it says we, every one of them has a meaning embedded within it. And it's quite phenomenal the way the Quran is. Look at the consistencies of the Quran, go home and check it out. This recital is in itself a miracle. The Prophet did not come with miracles. Subhana Rabbi hal kuntu illa basharan rasula. Bring rivers for us and gold from the heavens and go to the sky and bring a book, and even then we will not believe if until and unless we read the book. Qul subhana rabbi, say glory be to my Lord, hal kuntu illa basharan rasula. Am I but a mere mortal? I can't do any of these things. So what is his miracle? What is the source of his verification? The source of his verification was the Quran itself. Now the early Muslims were not like us. They became Muslims, the very early ones, by looking at the moral message of the Quran, the spiritual message of the Quran, the intellectual content of the Quran. But others were drawn to the Quran by its simple words, the eloquence, the prose, the way the sounds were made together. In terms of Khalifa Umar, we know this, that he had gone to his sister's house to chastise her and her husband because they had embraced Islam. And he heard the recitation of the Quran and he said, who is able to put such lofty meanings and mold them with such beauty, precision, structure? And that was the thing that led him into Islam, I'm saying historically. So there were many, many people who were drawn to the Quran, not because of its content, but because its flawless style. Now this style is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Had it been from other than Allah, you would have found many discrepancies therein. Now, the important thing here is, then what is the role of the Blessed Prophet? Now this is where we can see the nobility of this man, how phenomenal he is. You see, the words are what? The words are fashioned around the meanings, aren't they? We said that Quran, in terms of its essential truth, which is communication, is without meanings, without words. It comes to a level where it acquires meanings. It comes to another level where it acquires words. We said that, right? And everything is happening simultaneously in sync, in real time. The Prophet is speaking, all those processes are happening immediately at that point. I want to explain this somewhat. But the meanings, who has fashioned the meanings? Isn't that amazing? So just as the words have formulated the meanings, the Blessed Prophet is the mold through which the communication takes meanings, which is subsequently then spoken and articulated. Without the Blessed Prophet, those meanings, those communications would not even transpire in form of concrete meanings. This is how integral Blessed Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is to the Quran. Without Rasulullah, there would be no Quran. And we're going to explain this now. He is the mold that fashions the meanings, which are simultaneously articulated. Why do I say this? The Quran is absolutely prophet-centered. It's prophet-centric. The message of the Quran is God-centric and God-centered. But the Quran itself as a communication is absolutely prophet-centered and prophet-centric. This Quran cannot be the Quran had it not been for Muhammad Rasulullah. Now every prophet has already been appointed as a prophet prior to taking birth. وَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَن تَبِعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ. Adam, you all exit from this place. All of you go out. اهبطوا منها. Drop from it. It talks about something. Even that word اهبطوا, drop from it, says a story. فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى. And whenever guidance comes to you from me, then whoever follows the guidance, so it was already destined that guidance will come periodically. Can you see that? Prior to the arrival of Adam upon the face of this earth. Then again, about Moses. The mother of Moses is told, Inna laraduhu ilayki wa ja'iluhu min al-mursalin. We will bring him back to you and we will make him of a messenger amongst the messengers. It was a done deal. It was known. It was told that we will make him into a messenger and we will bring him back to you. Fear not. Place him in that basket and cast him to the Nile or the river. Yusuf being thrown inside the well. وَأُوحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ. We inspired Joseph at that point. لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. You will inform them of what they are doing today at a particular time when they will not be aware as to who you are. And when you read Surah Yusuf, أَأَنْتَ Yusuf? Are you Joseph? That inspiration that Joseph got within the well is proven here. أَأَنْتَ Yusuf? And they were unaware that he is Joseph. It was already a done deal. It's a phenomenal universe. Something very grand is happening here. So every prophet has been already appointed. Now I want you to turn to this particular verse, Surah Al-Imran 381. Look at this verse, and as we begin our analysis and go into this particular theme. وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ النَّبِيِّينَ لَمَا أَتَيْتُكُم مِّن كِتَابٍ وَحِكْمَةٍ. Yesterday, pay attention to the nuances. The verse is saying not when I took the covenant from the messengers. It's nothing to do with Rasul. Rasul is the one who brings Risala, right? When Allah took the covenant from Nabiyyin, from the prophets, those that didn't bring the message and those that brought the message, and all of them were given the kitab, not the Quran. Look at the words. What did we say yesterday? We said that the formation of the Quran is at a later date. There is a kitab, a book. That book then is transmitted into Kitabul Mubin. That is a record of all things. Tilka ayatul Kitabul Mubin. Those are the signs of the Kitabul Mubin. We have made it into an Arabic Quran subsequent to Kitabul Mubin. Then it's made into a Quran in Arabic. And then it's in a sacred vault, in a tablet, and Kitab al-Maknoon, sacred vault, and in a protected tablet. That's the story of the Quran in the descending fashion. This is kitab. So what does this kitab mean here? This kitab means of the truth. Your souls will have this truth, and they will be ignited at some point. So when the Blessed Prophet came of age through the revelation, he spoke and he said, Kuntu Nabi wa Adam bayn al-ma wa tin. I was a prophet at a time when Adam's bodily structure, constitution, was yet to be combined in terms of water and clay. Isn't that amazing? I was a prophet before Adam's water and clay was brought together. That doesn't mean Adam wasn't there, because he's a Nabi. He was already given a kitab. But Adam's body was being made. I was a Nabi at that time. Can you see that? If that has gone through, then we start with the talk. The Blessed Prophet is so integral to this message that there needed to be a medium to mold the meanings that are then subsequently articulated. That medium had to be so untarnished that that medium's experiences, challenges, can be an adequate means for the Quran to deliver or for the communication to mold itself in. And if anybody has any doubt about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then I give this example that we often give. If I were to be questioned, who is your Allah? As the Prophet Muhammad was questioned by the Jewish community, who is Allah? And Jibreel were to come to me, Salamullah, and say He is Allah the One. I would say, He is Allah the One. And most of us are expected to do that, right? But Prophet Muhammad does not say He is Allah the One. He says, say He is Allah the One. He is an untarnished medium. He is absorbing, digesting, intellectualizing, taking it on in his spirit, and he is saying it as it is. Isn't it amazing? Think about this man. I want to take this slowly, by the way, after the feedback I got from yesterday. Obviously, I've been frightened out of my wits. So, if I did something wrong and, a voice told me here, you've done something wrong, I'm not going to go and share that with you guys. I'll just say, please forgive me, Allah, I'll try my best. The Prophet Muhammad is being told. And I'm going to come to these verses. Why did you do this? And he himself says it. Why did you do this? Do you know how empowering that was for his listeners? They said, this is not a liar. If he was a liar, he would conceal all of these things, like you are expected to do. Even the Maulana says to you, don't go and conceal all your faults. Keep it between you and your God. Right? He was such an untarnished medium that he was the only right candidate. He had to be taken from scratch, from ground zero, and he had to be developed. And his journey was to be seen as an exemplary journey for one and all to see. And there was no candidate better than him, and that's why he is the most prominent of all. I mean, obviously, we said 2-3 years ago that the Quran does not make comparisons between prophets. But by God, this prophet is beyond description, beyond understanding. He is something else altogether. So innocent is he that his wives can beguile him and fool him. So pure is he. And the Quran tells him, Prophet, they're having you on, they're just taking you for a ride. Put them straight. Of course, the Prophet didn't, the Quran did. People sit in front of him. They are so innocent. They would say, I would do this for God and that for God. And the Quran says, you don't know what they hide inside their hearts. They're corrupt to the core. But he was so pure. The Quran says, do not stand at the graves of these hypocrites. And even if you seek forgiveness 70 times, Allah will not forgive them. There's nuance. Allah will not that I will not. Bear this in mind. The Prophet said, if only the Quran were to have told me, stand at their graves and seek forgiveness 17 times, and Allah will forgive them, I would have stood at each one of their graves and sought forgiveness 70 times. You needed a medium like that. Now, there is a key thing that we need to have in mind. And if I don't do it today, then tomorrow, Furqan, Furqaniya of the Quran. Why is Quran called Furqan? It can go in any context and mold it. Yeah, I will discuss that and remind me if I forget. So now, the Prophet's journey begins. When the Prophet's journey begins, he has the kitab. the Kitab's deep knowledge is not the Quran. That Kitab's deep knowledge is dormant within him. It's dormant. It is waiting to gain expression. But the Quran has not been given to him, and it has to be like that, because it has to be a real journey. And his journey becomes the Quran. And that Quran becomes the forever guidance for mankind. This person has to be elevated from the ranks of an ordinary human, become spiritually so refined that he can go to the meeting of his Lord, and Gabriel cannot dare to take a foot forward, step forward in that realm. From there to there. He has to be taken from human insecurities to full confidence. He has to be taken from a stage where he is being rectified by the Quran to a stage where the Quran says whatever he says, Allah says. And we're going to cite these verses. So he had to be a person that is taken from zero to absolute perfection. I don't use these words ever for those who hear me. I never use the word perfection. I only use the word completion, but in the case of this blessed man, you can use it very easily. So now, the revelation starts. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. He is frightened, like any person should be. He is trembling. What is happening? Am I being misled? Is a jinn inspiring me? Why jinn? Because in Arabia, they used to have this notion that jinns go and misguide people and talk in their minds. Is this a jinn? He goes to Khadija and she says, no, there is something grand happening here. And she goes to her cousin and he says, no, this is the blessed messenger that was promised to us. But the Prophet Muhammad's reaction is something else. In his human capacity, like any human should be. So then the Quran comes later on and clarifies this. وَكَذَلِكَ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ رُوحًا مِّنْ أَمْرِنَا. And in that fashion, Surah 42, verse 52. And in that fashion, we have revealed to you a spirit with our affair. مَا كُنْتَ تَدْرِي مَا الْكِتَابُ وَلَا الْإِيمَانِ. You did not know what was the book, and you did not know what was faith. So he is starting off at ground zero. You did not know the book, even though it is hidden, dormant within him, but you did not know the book in this phase of your human life. And then Surah Yusuf, Surah 12, verse 3. نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما وحينا إليك هذا القرآن. We relate to you the best of stories through the Quran that we are inspiring to you or revealing to you. وَإِن كُنْتَ مِن قَبْلِهِ لَمِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. Even though you are inattentive prior to this. So these verses are showing that he did not know, or that it was dormant within him and he was inattentive to it all. Now look at the phenomenal state of the Prophet. That once the revelation came, Iqra, and a few verses, the revelation ceased. When the revelation ceased, he started entertaining doubts. That has God forsaken me? Has God left me and abandoned me? Now you can find signs of that within the Meccan surahs. Yasin wal Quran al Hakim innaka lamin al mursalin. Yasin. By the noble, by the wise Quran or the firm Quran, indeed you are amongst the messengers. Why would the Quranic tone be so emphatic? Indeed, you are a messenger. Doubt not, you are a messenger. Doubt not. But the most telling surah is وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. By daylight and the darkness when it covers. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Your Lord has not forsaken you, nor is He displeased with you. وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. And the hereafter is better for you than the first life. So you can see here that in accordance with the inner states of the Prophet, the psychology of the Prophet, The Quran is molding itself. So then, we look at Surah Kahf, Surah 18, verse 1110. To show that he is a human medium through which the Quran is fashioning itself, and it's a true story. It's not somebody who knows everything that is to transpire and who is just acting out his life, who has the Quran already inside him. No, he didn't have the Quran inside him, and we will go and show this. قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ. Say, I am a mortal like you. يُوحَى إِلَيَّ. It has been revealed to me that your Lord is one Lord. فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو. And whoever is desirous of meeting with his God and meeting him on the last day, فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا. Then they should do righteous deeds. وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَتِهِ أَحَدًا. And they should not associate in the worship of God anyone else. Again, these ideas are dispelled from the minds of people that he is something special, to show that no, it's a real journey. He is being nurtured, and he is being the point for the molding of the message. If you look at Surah Arif, Surah 7, verse 188. قُلْ لَا أَمْلِكُ لِنَفْسِي نَفْعًا وَلَا ضَرًّا. Muhammad, say to them. So he himself is saying, say. I do not possess for myself any benefit or harm. إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ. Except for what Allah wants. And if I knew the unseen, then I would have gained benefits of it, and no evil would have befallen me. To say to the people that no, I'm on my journey and I'm led by the revelation. In another place, the Prophet is saying, I simply follow what is being revealed to me. I'm one like you. Now, the beautiful thing about the Quran is that it calls itself the Furqan. What is the Furqan? Furqan is something that distinguishes right from wrong, the criterion. وَأَنزَلَ الْفُرْقَانِ أنزل التوراة والإنجيل من قبل وأنزل الفرقان. He revealed Torah and Injil previously, and he revealed the Furqan. So here Furqan is the name of the Quran. But it's not only the name of the Quran, it's also the name of Torah. We gave Moses the book and the Furqan. Furqan means a distinguisher, a criterion. Now, let's say I am taken as a specimen, as a subject for the Furqan. So the Furqan comes. Furqan is a voice in my ear. Whenever I say something wrong, the Furqan will say, this is wrong. And I will utter it out, this is wrong. Allah is watching you. I will say it out, Allah is watching you. Then I'm in a gathering and people are coming in and nobody is making space for them. The Furqan says, this is not good. If you make space for them, Allah will make space for you. So I will say it out. So the Furqan, what it does, it takes the life of a person, and every event of that life is then weighed by the Furqan and been told to that person, this is right, this is wrong. And that person says it out. And Furqan therefore then communicates the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that being understood? But the Furqan does something else as well. It uses that subject immediately to modify the state of that subject and those around, and use that as a means to reveal the greater truth as well. So the Furqan will tell you, look, this is a wrong attitude. Allah sees what is inside you. Be trusting to Allah. Then it will convey a bigger message, for your Allah is one. He controls all destiny and all affairs. You will have to stand before Him and He will judge you accordingly. You will go to paradise or hell. So the Furqan has used that moment to immediately remedy that situation and use that situation as a base to convey much higher truths. Can you see the Furqaniyah? Now, with that in mind, the Prophet's personal circumstances are being mentioned by the Quran. But together with the personal circumstances, A lot more is being given out in that verse. So we know the verses were occasioned by events, don't we? We know verses were occasioned by events. Something happens in the life of the Prophet and a verse comes. So that verse will talk about that particular event. But together with that event, the verse will convey far more than that individual event. It will give theology, it will give morality, it will give spirituality, it will give prophecies, it will give eschatology, it will give us what we are going to do with ourselves on the day of Qiyamah. It will talk about the books, but it will use that moment to bring out all these truths. Now let's see how these things transpire. So the states of the Prophet that are being discussed in the Quran and how they are being used in order to convey the truth. So the Prophet, in his eagerness to convey his message, is speaking to the a chief of the Meccan community. And a poor man or a blind man comes to him, and you know the story, Abasa wa Tawalla. And he sought Prophet's attention. Now, like any human being, the Prophet was right in telling that person, let me seize this opportunity. Because if this man converts, with him comes a whole clan. And with that clan come other associated and related clans. So let me finish with him and then I'll be with you. It's as simple as that. So a man comes to the Prophet and he maybe prods at the Prophet, wanting attention. And the Prophet is talking with that chief. So the Prophet turns to him and looks away and makes him wait. The surah is revealed. Abasa wa Tawalla. He frowned and turned away. Okay. Because there came to him a blind man. But what would make you perceive that perhaps he might be purified? Or be reminded, and remembrance would benefit him. To him you give attention, to him you give attention, and not upon you is any blame if he will not be purified, the other guy. But as for the one who comes to you striving for knowledge, while he fears Allah, but as for this person who's coming to you for knowledge, and he fears Allah, from him you are distracted. So this is being told to the Prophet, that look at this event, what you are doing, O Muhammad. You are favoring the one whom you don't even know will be purified. But this another one is coming to you who is purified, who is fearing God, who is seeking Allah, who is seeking knowledge. So immediately there is a discretion being given to the Prophet, a direction being given to the Prophet, that look, this conduct can be bettered. Although what you did was not wrong, but your attitude needs to be much more refined than that. Now look at what the verse is saying after that. No, indeed, these verses are a reminder. So whoever wills may remember it. Oh Muhammad, whoever will come and learn is the one I want, not the one who are lofty and mighty upon the earth. Your focus towards the rich should be as your focus towards the poor should be as much as your focus towards the rich and the powerful. Make no distinction. So here two things happen. The first thing is that the people listening to the Prophet, they say he has to be a truthful person because he did abasa wa tawalla and ja'ahul a'ma. He turned away when a blind man came to him. None of us would narrate this incident because it's a criticism upon our behavior. But he is narrating it freely. So this man has integrity. He is with integrity conveying whatever he is receiving. That's the first thing. The second thing they are learning is that his attitude is being modified. The third thing that the Prophet is learning and they are learning is that the message of the Prophet is not for the rich and the mighty, it's for every soul, because every soul is equal to Allah. Can you imagine the impact of such a message? That you are seeing the message in action. But what did the Furqan do here? it used that event to its maximum. And the rest of the surah of Abasa is talking about the hereafter and what is to come. So that event is being used to talk about the Prophet, to regulate the attitude of the Prophet and the actions of the Prophet, to redress the mindset of the Prophet, and to say what Allah is out to get. He does not care about numbers, He cares about willing souls who are willing to become purified. All of that is conveyed in that beautiful way. Even in the verse of Duha, you are told, Alam yajidka yatiman fa'awa, wa wajadaka dalan fahada, wa wajadaka ailan fa'aghna. Did He not find you an orphan and He gave you shelter? Did He not find you lost and He guided you? Did He not find you poor and He made you needless? So He's narrating the Prophet's events to the Prophet, so the Prophet knows, yes, He has done all of this for me, and the listener knows that the Prophet is being told that you are a yatim. You did not know the truth. You were without wealth. But then after that, فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. But together with that, a moral message is added on. That as for the orphan, do not be oppressive. As for the petitioner, do not chase them away. So it's a beautiful way in which the Furqan is using those events. But in this, you see the growth process of the Blessed Prophet. If you see the growth process of the Prophet, you will see that the Prophet in the initial stages was not the Prophet that he became at the later stages. The Prophet was frightened. He did have anxiety. He did have worry. He did have, at times, lack of surety what will happen. And the Quran reflects every one of these things. Until you come to the Madanian Prophet, in the mid phase of Medina and later phase of Medina. It's it. The deal is done. Look at the contrast. Look at this verse. You know, when you write so many verses, you forget which verse you want to look at. Surah Yunus 10, verse 46. Look at this verse. This is directly reflecting the psychology of the Prophet. وَإِمَّا نُرِيَنَّكَ بَعْضَ الَّذِي نَعِدُهُمْ أَوْ نَتَوَفَّيَنَّكَ فَإِلَيْنَا مَرْجِعُهُمْ ثُمَّ اللَّهُ شَهِيدٌ عَلَى مَا يَفْعَلُونَ. We will either show you what we promise to do to them, or we will seize you. In other verses, or we will kill you before that. So the Prophet is left with no guarantee. We will either show you what we promise, or we will kill you before that. That is in the Meccan phase and the early Medinan phase. Look at the later phase of Makkah, of Medina. In Surah Al-Fath, when you've got the Fatah of Makkah, or just prior to that. In Fatah of Makkah, this verse is revealed. Look at this verse and look at the contrast. Surah 48, verse 28. هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. This verse is repeated 2-3 times in the later surahs. He is the one who sent his messenger with the rightful religion to cause it to prevail over all religion. Look at the confidence this verse has. Because now the prophetic message is coming to an end, the verse changes in accordance with the circumstances of the Prophet Muhammad. The first verse said, we might show you this, we may not show you this. We may just kill you before that. At the end of his life and his missionary role, the verse changes. He sent his messenger. Imagine if this message, if this verse was sent in the very beginning, that he has sent his messenger with Iqra, with the Deen al-Haq, لَيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى دِينِ كُلِّ. It would not have been a real journey of the Prophet. The Prophet would have known, I'm going to succeed, whatever happens. He would be filled with unreal confidence. He would not develop as a human being. You would not see the part of a weak man, of a person skeptical, of a person grieving. You would not see a part of a person evolving spiritually, morally, and in confidence. Has that come true? If Hazrat Jibreel were to have told Prophet Muhammad, look, read, and then came to him and said, look, we have chosen you as a messenger. The next 23 years are going to be hard, but you will prevail over all of them. Go forth, fear not. The Prophet would have been a very different prophet. But to tell him, your Lord has not forsaken you, don't worry, what does that say? He's not given any guarantees. And to say to him that we might kill you before this, what does that say to him? I have no guarantees. You see, when in the Battle of Uhud, they said Muhammad has been killed, they ran away, didn't they? Many. It's normal, we would all run away, wouldn't we? We would, trust me, we would. But we don't know now, this messenger came, there are no guarantees, and what can we do? These guys are going to kill us. They're going to finish us totally. You know, it's like, okay, fine, the war is over, let's see what happens, you know, who prevails. But the thing that's happening today within the Arab world, the war is over, but let's see who prevails, let's see whoever has our allegiance. You have to calculate these things, right? But what if the Madinese community had been given this verse, that no, he will not be killed until he finishes his message? Then they wouldn't have run away, would they? They wouldn't have run away. And if they had not run away, the Quran would not have had an event to give those surahs that Allah knows what is inside your heart. And this event was only constructed for you to see what is inside your heart. And after that, they became refined souls. Can you see that? It was a real thing. So the Quran says, what? If he dies, are you going to run away? What difference does it make whether he lives or dies? But you can see, the Prophet is being taken on a journey, not being given any guarantees, until the time when he himself knows with guarantee that he has succeeded. And that's when the guarantee comes. So the Quran is using him as a mold. Now look at the states of the Prophet in Meccan phase and in the Medinan phase. وَلَقَدْ نَعْلَمَ أَنَّكَ يَضِيقُ صَدْرُكَ بِمَا يَقُولُونَ. We know that it constricts your heart due to what they are saying. فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَكُمْ مِنَ السَّاجِدِينَ. Glorify the name of your Lord and become of those who prostrate. Surah 15, verses 97, 98. وَعَبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيكَ الْيَقِينَ. And devote yourself to your Lord until the truth comes upon you. So he's being told that, look, we know your human states. We know what is happening. We are not telling you that things will go better. No, we are only telling you in this moment of stress and difficulty, praise your God, do sajda and worship Him. Only do that. Can you see how real this story is? They're not saying to him, it will become better. They're saying, we don't know. God can make it better. God may not make it better. What a perilous place to leave somebody in. But that shows a real story. Then in Surah Isra, when the Prophet was given a proposition by the opposition, and he said, this sounds right. I should take them up on this. It will resolve a lot of problems and there will not be this conflict or quarrel. The Quran comes in. As I said, when you have too many verses, you get lost. Thank God the Quran was revealed slowly. It's a verse of Surah Isra, but I don't know where it's gone. Sorry? Which verse is it? So you expect me to remember that off my head. وَلَوْلَا أَنْ رَبَطْنَاكَ. Well, I do remember it actually. وَلَوْلَا أَنْ رَبَطْنَاكَ. O Muhammad, had we not held your heart together, لَقَدْ كِدْتَ تَرْكُنْ إِلَيْهِمْ شَيْئًا قَلِيلًا. You are about to be inclined to them somewhat. And had you done that, إِذًا لَأَذَقْنَاكَ ضِعْفَ الْحَيَاةِ وَضِعْفَ الْمَمَاتِ. And had you done that, O Muhammad, we would have given you to taste twice the benefit of life and twice the chastisement of death. It's reflecting the inner being of the Prophet Muhammad. In your humanness, you are about to incline to them slightly because of the proposition that they were making. Had you done that, we would have given you twice the benefits of life and twice the chastisement of death. From that state to the Medinan state, where the verse says, Man yuta'a Rasul faqad ata Allah. Which verse is that? Surah Nisa 4:80. He who is obedient to the Prophet is obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My time is over. I'll stop there. Inshallah, we'll try and finish the last part of this tomorrow. The way the Blessed Prophet had been formed, this has a lasting impact on the way his community evolved. But there was a difference in his followers. There were the early Meccan followers and those who migrated with him or immigrated with him. And then there were the early Medinan followers who received him. After that came the middle phase of Medina and later phase of Medina, where people who were coming to Islam were not people necessarily who were adhering to the spiritual message of Islam, not endowed with the moral virtues of Quran, not God-centered. His family, immediate family, was nurtured by him through the revelation. Bibi Aisha was asked, who is the teacher of the Prophet? She said, it's the Quran. Quran is the instructor of the Prophet and the mentor of the Prophet. You are seeing this distinction very apparently after the demise of the Prophet. You see, when the Khilafah was taken through vote, whatever vote took place, the rationale there was that actually Ali is young and he has made many enemies and this will be to the detriment of Islam. But the Quran was told, Abasa wa tawalla. Your task, O Muhammad, is to call willing hearts to you. Worry not of the influential people. God wants what is inside there. This trend is there. We see from the very beginning, it was a human concern, I grant it, but I'm just saying, there's a huge difference between someone nurtured by the Quran and someone nurtured by the person nurtured by the Quran, and those who come to Islam through other reasons. The middle phase of Medina and later phase of Medina saw people flocking to the religion of Muhammad. It's just like the modern day political alliances that countries have with each other. We will see now China is doing well, our alliances with BRICS. America's power is waning, the empire is collapsing. Switch allegiance. We don't know the value of the Chinese, we don't even care about the value of the Chinese. We just want the economical gains, right? We just want a military power that can protect us. These were the concerns. Now, this is the very story you see with Imam Hussein Salamullah alayhi playing out. He is coming out of Makkah. I'm going to narrate this for a while. He writes a letter to the Bani Hashim or gives a khutbah. He says, I have not risen to oppress, nor to secure myself any power. My sole task is to bring about rectification in the ummah of my grandfather and amongst the followers of my father. I stand to command to good and to prohibit from evil. He writes a letter to the Hashimis. And he says to the Hashimis, no, whoever amongst you joins me will be killed. And whoever resists this opportunity will not have success. In another khutbah, sermon, attributed to Imam Hussein, he says, whoever wishes to give his life for my sake should know that I have intended to travel tomorrow. So he knew he's giving his life, and he knew that he is going to stand by his principles. What principles? The principle of the Quran. Surrender to none save God. Your dignity is beyond worldly power. Fear not death when it comes to your principles. These are his lofty principles. So Ibn Abbas comes to him, and I'm not sure if this is authentic. In all probability, it probably isn't, but it carries a sentiment that is important. Some parts of it, although, appear to be true. Ibn Abbas says, Hussein, where do you leave for? Because Imam Hussein was in his Hajj, and he cut it short. As he learned that there were assassins within the Hujjaj come to assassinate him. So Imam Hussein said, I'm going to Kufa. There are 1,000 swords that await me. Ibn Abbas said, you know, O Hussein, very well that they will put you to death. For these are people who cannot be trusted, and their loyalties are not to be trusted. Imam Hussein said, if I were to stay in Medina or Makkah, they will still put me to death. And I do not wish the sanctity of Makkah and Medina to be violated by the spilling of my blood. I will set off in the morning. Ibn Abbas said, if you know you're going to die, why are you going? This is what the Zakirin said. Inna Allah yurid an yarani qatila. Allah wishes to see me slain. Ibn Abbas asks a second question. Then why do you take your women folk and your children? Now Zainab stands behind a wall, fearing that Ibn Abbas will convince her brother and deter him from taking her with him. She interrupts and she said, Ibn Abbas, why do you put such a question to my brother? Be on your way and allow us to travel with Hussein. She did not allow Hussein to respond. Least Hussein says, Ibn Abbas, take them all back to Medina. Hussein is on his journey. Hur has intercepted Imam Hussein. He comes to a place. He says to Hur, allow us to stay here. It was the place of Nainawa. Hur said, no. Ibn Ziyad has sent his men and they're watching over me, and I'm not allowed to let you stop in any place where there are inhabitants. Zuhair comes to Imam Hussein and he said, there is a nearby place where there is a tributary of the Euphrates that flows. It is a place known as Aqar. Aqar means a wound. Hussein said, I seek refuge from Aqar. Hussein said to Hur, allow us to make our way to this place. Hur tries to prevent him, but Hussein is adamant, and they carry on in that direction. Now I quote from the Zakirin. They arrive at a place where Hussein's steed refuses to move. He spurs his horse, but his horse is still. Imam changes several horses. None of them move. Seeing this strange behavior, Hussein turns to Zuhair. He says, Zuhair, what is the name of this place? Zuhair says, oh Hussein, it is known as Taf. He said, does it have any other name? He said, it is known as Shattul Furat, the banks of the Euphrates. Imam asked, does it have another name? He said, yes, it is called Karbala. Hussein says, I seek refuge from Karb and Bala, tribulation and affliction. He descends from his steed. He has a spear in his hand. He embeds his spear within the dust of Karbala. And he says, by Allah, this is the place where our tents will be erected, where our animals will be tied. This is the place where we will be killed and buried. This is the place from whence we will be resurrected on the day of reckoning. Kulsum runs to Hussein. She says, "Oh brother, what be this place, this wilderness? It fills my heart with fear and I find no rest." He said, "Oh sister, this is the destined place that our father had told me about. On our return from Siffin, he slept here in the lap of our brother Al-Hassan, and he awoke and he wept. And Al-Hassan asked him, 'Oh father, what brings tears to your eyes?' He said, 'It was this place, and it became a pool of blood, and I saw Hussein drowning in that blood. He was calling out for helpers, but none came to his aid. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة.'"
The short Arif which is about Sayyidina Zainab alayhi salam and Imam Hussein